Okay, so here's a little video of just a little project I just finished up. It's a WPL C74 radio controlled little truck. It's based on the Suzuki Jimny K truck that's found over in Asia and Europe. They're like 3/4 size trucks that are powered by like 660 cc or so engines. The reason why I kind of like the WPL RC vehicles is because a lot of them come with a hard body, and the hard body is basically like it makes it like a giant model car basically, and you put it together, or you tear it apart and you tinker with it, and it's a lot of fun. I like it in that respect. It's not the highest quality radio controlled vehicle, but I like it just because of the tinker factor. And one of the things I like to do with the hard bodies with the WPL vehicles, and I've done it with some of the other vehicles, is I like to cut open the doors, hoods, that sort of thing, to make them more functional. So this is all hard body, that sort of things. It comes with lights. I'm not gonna turn it on or anything like that. I have the remote in the other room. There's plenty of other videos for that. Just showing you the stuff that I did with this one, just to let you know some of the things that you can do. Quick mods that really don't cost anything but time. So one of the first fun things that I did is I used the back end of a hobby knife, not the sharp edge, but the back edge. And then I just kept on going all along the lines until I cut through. If you use a sharp edge, there's a tendency that you might go off of the scored line and then wreck the rest of the body. So you just keep on whittling through with the back edge of the knife. And I popped open the doors. I also popped open the back hatch, that sort of thing. And then I also cut open the hood. And the way this vehicle is that typically the battery is stored in a little compartment back there. You can see the little tang there on the back, and it's difficult to get the battery out. This is all stock suspension, didn't do anything special to it. I forgot, I gotta add a exhaust pipe. Do that later. But it's a nice design, leaf spring. There's a servo right up there, and the battery's in the back. And you know, for like crawlers, you want to have the weight more up in the front. So what I did, I pop open the hood. All right, and again, I just did it with the back end of a hobby knife, and I just kept on scoring along. There was already a nice little air gap right here on the front of the vehicle, which is nice. You know, that's for like, you know, the real vehicle air induction, that sort of thing. Well, just to like cool the air in rather. And then, so what I did, I got these little mini hinges and I painted them black. And the way I mounted on the hinges here and also on the back door is, if you look very carefully, in between the nail heads, there are pieces of wire. These nails came with the hinges. It didn't come with screws, which would have made things a lot easier. I got them off of Amazon. But what happens is the screws, I would just have to drill holes and just screw on the screws, which is easier. But because it came with nails and I couldn't find little screws, I actually used wire. And you can see here very carefully, it's hard to see, but I used wire to hold down the hinges onto the hood and the body, and then I just stuck the nails through just so that it's more like decoration, more or less. And these hinges for this scale vehicle is very strong. They're very durable, so they're pretty good. And the way that I'm holding it down, there's my battery right there. I put the little controller, the receiver and everything like that in a little bag just in case. So I might be bringing this out to the beach, so I don't want to get salt water on anything. So it's, for the most part, closed up but not sealed. Heat can still get out. But you can actually see here and over here, there's actually areas where screws used to come in from the bottom and attach the chassis, the black underside part of the body, to the underside of the hood rather. And so what I did, I actually had to cut these down here, and then I just put in some of the body mounting screws, and I put some rare earth magnets. I put 2 of them in there for a little more extra strength. And I cut off these mounts up here just because it was getting in the way of the battery. And there's enough room I can put a bigger battery in there if I want to. These mounts would mount otherwise through these holes right here. But now I'm not using those, so now it's just room for the battery, and it closes nice. Unless you do some crazy things or fall off the side of a hill, the hood's not gonna pop open. And you can hear it, nice clickety click. There are provisions on the back of these driving lights, fog lights, where you can put in bulbs, and also for the turn signals, and also the rear tail lights. Also, there are provisions for like mini LEDs, but I don't know if I'm gonna go that route. So as far as this goes, what I had to do, you'll actually realize that there is a new C74 model that actually comes with opening doors and a removable top. That came out after I started this. I started this up last year, and I just finished it just recently. But what I did, I made, instead of using like say the hinges I used for the hood, what I did, these little plastic hinges were actually there on the body for decoration. So I popped these off and I scored the back of the hinge so that now they are actually usable. And of course, if I keep bending this like a zillion times, the hinges will probably break, but for my purposes, it works fine. And I get to open the doors. Now, what I had to do though, is that because this was like a little body tub, I had to cut open the body tub to make the interior door panels. And the window glass was actually, this is actually one big piece of plastic that actually attaches to the roof. If you can see up in there, you see that? It actually attaches to the roof. So I actually cut off the window glass for the doors from this big piece of plastic. And then I cut it down to size, and I wanted it so that it looked like the window's open. And also it helps because I can pull open the door that way. The little handles are too small. Now, the way I close the doors, all I did was I just glued a little tang of plastic with a rare earth metal magnet. And then just on this side where my finger is, I just used like the top of a can. So I'm just using stuff that I have around the house. So for the piece of metal there, just the top of the can, and I just used a pair of scissors, and it cuts perfectly fine. I did have to take off the bottoms of the seat just so I can get my little dude in there. So you can see him in there, my little mini me. So I cut off the bottom, and then the backs just snapped back in. And then I also, to make room for the legs, cut off the bottom part of the dashboard. I had to cut off the side of the dashboard as well so that it would clear the door panel that I have here. And you can see on the other side, and it's nice, you know, like I said, this is like a big model car. And so like it has like wipers, a little antenna, little washer squirter. Why is it sitting lopsided? Oh, that's weird. Anyway, that crack actually happened when I was cutting the glass. So, you know, make lemonade out of lemons. And so I just made it like it's a pretend crack, that sort of thing. People put cracks on their windshields, all that good stuff. And then for the fender flares, I actually just used a wiper blade insert. And the other part that was holding it, I used to make the roof racks. And you can see that I used, I was gonna glue it, but then I was like, nah, it's not gonna be that secure. So I actually drilled 4 holes, and I just used some wire, and I just tied it down from underneath them. This was an afterthought. It was after I mounted the body and everything. Then I said, oh, let's do roof racks. So it's a good thing I had the opening doors, because I can get my hands inside. I didn't have to take the body off again. And the nice thing about doing this with the wire, okay, and again, these are just the ends that used to actually hold the wiper insert on the actual wiper blade. The nice thing about doing it with a wire, very strong. So this is actually a handle now, so it's pretty strong. And again, I did the same thing here with the hinges, that sort of thing. Now the back, what I did here, okay, is I used the hinges like I did on the hood, and these are nice and strong. This one was one of the decorative hinges that actually came on the vehicle. I pried it off and I just glued it to this part of the door just so it looks like there's a hinge there. Otherwise there'd be a little recessed area. The way I did this is that, and this swings wide open, and you can see I put a little piece of top of a can here. I just cut that off. You just make sure that it clears the little studs that are coming through the door, that sort of deal. And then I just used rare earth magnets here. I used a few of them here. Actually, one big one and one big one and one little one. So that has a lot of strength. And also because these rare earth magnets are really thin, it's nice. I could use it to adjust how far out I wanted the door, because otherwise the door wouldn't sit flush, that sort of deal. And oh yeah, because I need to put cargo in here, I have a reclinable rear seat, that sort of thing. So you can just see I just cut it there, and then on the front I just use electric tape. That's it. So boop, boop, there we go. Now I have extra storage space. I can put in the charging cable for the battery in here, any other little weird spare parts in a little container, that sort of thing, and lock it up, close it, and it stays nice and closed. The doors don't pop open. I got my little handle. And then, you know, I just put the little stickers that came with it. Made little license plate out of like an old debit card that I had, that sort of thing. Just cut out the numbers, looks kind of official with the little WPL logo, that sort of thing. Yeah, so it was fun. Again, this is like a big giant model car, except you can move it around. It's radio controlled, and the chassis only had like basically 6 screws holding it in. There were 2 here, 2 here, and then 2 here, and actually they were way inside. And what happened is they would mount to the inside of on the underside of the hood, but I cut those off to make room for the battery. So I just used this. I used the other part of a credit card just to hold in the front frame, and it works perfectly fine. There's a little on-off switch, and it's pretty durable, you know, so bounce it around, that sort of thing. So that's it for my little build. Oh, door popped open. Close the door. I guess I could put seat belts, I guess, but yeah, it'd be too hard to get the little dude in and out. So, you know, so that's it. Okay, hope you have fun and make your own build. All right, have a great day. Bye-bye.